CBS News has also confirmed President Trump has hired yet another attorney to deal with Russia-related matters. His name is Ty Cobb, part of the famous baseball family based here in Washington, D.C. But unlike other attorneys hired by the president, Cobb will work inside the White House, overseeing the legal strategy and some of the communication strategy related to the Russia investigation. Christine?
Major, this certainly represents another twist to the story of the meeting. What then are the implications of these latest developments?
Well, the implication first and foremost is disclosure has yet again been incomplete. When Donald Trump Jr. appeared earlier this week on Fox News, he said all that there was to disclose about this meeting had been disclosed. Well, that turns out not to be the case. We don't know exactly how many people were there, but more than were originally represented. And this fits a pattern, Christine, of facts being disclosed only under scrutiny from journalists or investigators. That doesn't necessarily prove anything was amiss, or certainly it doesn't prove or even suggest anything was illegal, but it does suggest a persistent problem of disclosing information related to Trump officials, Trump family members, and Russians during the campaign. And that is the number one implication. There could be others once everyone is identified, all their identities and their backgrounds are known, and whatever connections they may have had to those in the Kremlin. All those things are still not as well known as may eventually become known, but the very fact that this is yet another disclosure under what you can only describe as journalistic duress or investigatory duress certainly catches the eye of other journalists and members of Congress who are trying to get to the bottom of whatever this story is or isn't.
Yeah, it leads to definitely more questions. And speaking of that, CBS News has learned that President Trump's lawyers briefed him on Donald Jr.'s meeting 3 days before it was reported in the New York Times. So what is the current timeline on all of this as you understand it?
Well, it now appears somewhat clearer to me, Christine, why the White House has been so fuzzy about this precise timeline. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the deputy White House press secretary, was asked about this on Monday, and all she would say is within recent days, not putting a hard and fast date on when the president first learned of it. What we do know now is that it was 3 days before the New York Times first disclosed this, which occurred on a Saturday evening. So the president was aware, but did not have pre-existing knowledge of this meeting. And we don't know exactly how information about this meeting first surfaced. We know that it was recorded on a revised security clearance paperwork submitted by Jared Kushner, and also at some level and with some degree of detail, we don't know how much, conveyed to the Senate Intelligence Committee by Paul Manafort, who was at one time the campaign general chairman and also attended this meeting. Jared Kushner, Donald Jr., and the Russian lawyer, and now we know others. We don't know how this all surfaced, but we do know it surfaced, and the president's lawyers thought it was sensitive enough and significant enough to brief him 3 days before it became public knowledge in the New York Times.
Since you mentioned Jared Kushner, Major, we've learned that he updated the foreign contacts list on his security clearance twice, adding more than 100 names. How problematic is this for the president's son-in-law?
So it's problematic in the sense that it feeds this pattern of disclosing over time and revealing information over time. It's not, to my understanding of the law, legally problematic. This form is well known to people in Washington who have worked for White Houses. It's not well known across the country. It's called an SF-86. It has two key questions. Please disclose, or you're required to disclose, any contacts with foreign government officials or any foreign national you have an ongoing relationship with. There's some other verbiage in there, but those are the two key questions. Those who are close to Jared Kushner say he was not obligated to mention these 100 other people because he met them during the course of the transition as someone representing the president-elect, trying to take meetings with people representing embassies or foreign governments, trying to establish a relationship with this incoming administration, but he disclosed them nonetheless. This is the representations made by those speaking on behalf of Jared Kushner. Similarly, they argue Jared Kushner was under no obligation under the law to disclose Natalia Veselnitskaya, this Russian attorney who was part of this meeting and put it in motion by promising the Trump campaign damaging information on Hillary Clinton. Why? Because she wasn't a Russian official and there was no ongoing or sustaining relationship. Nevertheless, that's viewing this only through the prism of the law. It's not viewing it through the prism of politics or this pattern of lack of disclosure. That makes it, on its face, at least somewhat problematic.
Major Garrett at the White House. Major, thanks.
Sure.